everybody, it's me, Julie. I'm glad that you could join me today for my tutorial. Today we're going to be making bride and groom dolls to celebrate June's wedding month. June is a lovely month to have a wedding, so we've decided that June is wedding month. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to make these lovely bride and groom dolls. So what you need is a 22 pin. Okay, this is an Addy and this is Athena. As you know, I give all my machines names, so Athena is going to be helping me with this one. Okay, now you might have to bear with me because this table here is a bit rubbish and it doesn't clamp to very well, so Athena might go flying off the table at some point, but yeah, that'll give everybody a good laugh, won't it? Okay, so you'll need your machine, you'll need your yarn, you'll need scissors, needle, darning needle, you'll need a crochet hook, to most probably, but there's one knocking about here somewhere. You'll need a red colouring pencil. That's pink, I think. It's a dark pink, but it's near enough. So what we're going to first do, we do need more stuff than that, but we'll get to that when we get there. So what we're first going to do is we're going to cast on with our colours for the bride. We're going to start with the bride. Now you can decide what colour you want your bride to be. Doesn't have to be white. I'm doing white, but doesn't have to be white. I got married in pale blue, which is very pretty, but you could do ivory, you could do cream, you could do a pale lemon, you could do pink, you could do any colour you like. And if you wanted to do bridesmaids as well, to go the whole hog, you know, absolutely use whatever colour you like. So what I'm going to do for the purposes of this tutorial, I'm using white. So I'm going to start off with lovely, I'll show you the yarns I'm going to use. This is, it's an Aran, so it's a 4-weight, and I'm going to use a 4-weight throughout this. Okay, and that is white, and this is Woolcraft. I know you can't see it very well, but this is Woolcraft Aran, and it's a 3-weight. A 4-weight, beg your pardon, 4-weight. Oh my goodness me, it's this hot weather, it's gone to my brain. So that's what we're going to be using today for the main part, the main dress of my bride. Okay, and for the face, the hands and the legs, I'm going to be using a pale pink, which is here. It's all ready to go there. That's a lovely pale pink that I'm going to use for the face and the hands and the legs. Also, I'm going to use the white for the shoes, but again, you can use whatever colour you like. Okay, so that's the colours really for the bride. All you really need when you're knitting it is the pink and the white, or your dress colour. So we're going to start, and we're going to cast on. We're just going to do a regular cast on, no waste yarn. So I'm going to go and find the black pins. There they are. And those of you that know me, there's the black pins here. I like to start on this one, but that's just me. So I'm just going to cast on with pink. There we go. Sorry about the squeak. Athena's not been warmed up, so it might take a while for her to stop squeaking. So we've cast on, and then so we're cast on there, and we're going to put the yarn through, and I've got a tension fork on here, which is an extra. So I've brought the yarn out through the hole there and put it into the first hole on the tension fork. You don't have to have one of these tension forks. it works perfectly fine without. I just like to adjust my tension if it's looking a bit loose, tight, whatever, you know. So, but that's just me, but you don't have to have one. So we've cast on, so then we cast on and we reset. I can't see a thing. I need to sit on a cushion or something. Then that sounds like a plan. So I'm just gonna reset the counter, find something to sit on because I'm too low down. I've got some pillows over here, so I'll sit on those. There we go, that one. That one, I'll sit on these pillows and see what difference that makes. Right then. There we go. Right, let's sit down now and see what difference it makes. Well, it makes a little bit of difference. I'm up higher. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. Right, okay, so now we're back to this. So we're going to cast on. So we've cast on, and what we're going to do, we're going to make the head. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do 23 rows of pink. So we'll do 23 rows of pink. Carefully. Oh, look, you see, it's come off already. It's rubbish, this table is, honestly. And I've only done half a row. I might have to actually move it onto another table, but we'll see. Right, okay, so there we go. Still not right, but we'll get it. So I'm going to do 23 rows. Sorry for the table wobbling. It's not working properly because it's not clamped on properly, and I don't like that, so I think I might have to do a little bit of adjusting somehow. We'll see. Probably see I'm knitting this off an I-cord. I did make I-cord with it, and but I needed this lovely pink, so I'm just knitting it off the I-cord. That's probably why it's a bit stiff. You can see it's coming off the I-cord. If I hold the I-cord there, it should be okay. So we did 23 rows, 22, and that's 23, okay. Then what we're going to do now is we're going to put a drawstring so you can get a different colour. I've just got a bit of black here, so I'm just going to use the black to make my drawstring. Now, to make a drawstring, what you do is you leave your working yarn in the machine and you add your extra cord, your extra yarn. Sorry about the noise, that's messages. Right, and then what you do is you just hook it underneath your first hook that you've, at the start of the row. and you gently turn it around so that you're taking both the black and the pink, but you're holding onto your black yarn here and the pink is still in the feeder. But you must make sure that it's picking up both of your strands of yarn. And it's going to be a bit tough going because it's thick. Right, so there we go. We've gone all the way around with the drawstring. So then what we do is we put the black in there. Okay, now we've got 24 rows and we're going to do another row of pink. Okay, so I'm just going to gently do, it's hard work, so we're going to do another row of pink. Okay, so that's 25 rows altogether. Then I'm going to change the pink to the white. So we're going to cut the pink off, take the pink out of the machine, change to white, which is my white. This is my white. I've already shown you that. So there we go. So I'm going to put that down there on the floor. It's already caked up and ready to go. And we're going to change out the pink for the white. So we've got the pink on the black peg. We're going to change it onto the white peg. So there we go, and we thread that. Now I'm going to hang on to the pink and the white and do a few stitches there. Then I'm going to tie it together. I'm not going to tie the black. You don't need to tie the black because you won't actually see that once it's done. Okay, so now I'm tying that and we're going to go around with the white for the first row. Okay, so now we've got 26 rows. So now with your white, we're going to work another 87 rows. Okay, so we'll reset our timer counter. I always say that. Reset our timer to 0 and we're going to work 87 rows. 88 in white totally, but I've already done one. So we're going to do 88 rows. Okay. Hopefully this is going to work. I really don't like this. I wish it was downstairs on the table. It's giving quite a good tension because it's rolled into a cake, it's wound into a cake, so it's giving quite good tension. I'm not actually holding on to it, I'm holding the leg of the thing down here. You can see I'm holding it here. So I might have to sort something out with this because I really don't like this. It's hanging over the edge of the table. Keep going until we've done 87 rows. Okay, so meet me back here when we've done 87 rows. Right, now we've done 88 rows. There we go. 87 rows, sorry. Now we're going to change back to pink. Okay, so we're going to change our yarn back to pink. Okay. Oops, that's white. This is the pink. Here we go. We change the yarn back to pink. Hold on to those two ends as we do a few stitches. Tie the ends off. Tie the ends up, and then we're going to do 25 pink rows. So we reset our counter again and we do 25 pink rows. You've probably seen that I've put this on, I've actually bolted it to a piece of wood which I use on my holy tables, because you can see there's a hole there, but I'm not using the hole there. And then what I've done is I've clamped the machine to the wood, and then the wood is stuck on the table with this magic tape stuff. So that's why it's holding for now. So away we go, 25 rows. You could pull that up inside if you want to. And there we go, 25. So now we're going to cast off using the needle method. So we're going to cut that quite long. Okay, and then we're going to, I'm going to take that round like that, take the yarn out of the feeder and go around once. You need your needle. You thread your needle. There we go. And then we're going to cast off. And I'm falling down again so I can't see. These cushions are not very good. So we're just going to cast off with the needle method. I always put my finger on top of the next stitch so as not to pull it off when I'm pulling that through there like that. So, and then if you want to be flash, you can start doing a few at a time and then pull them through. Don't take long on a 22. I just keep pushing it around with my finger. There we go. Almost there. There we go. So we've casted that off now. Okay, we take that out. So you should have a piece that's white in the middle with 2 pink ends. So we're going to give it a stretch. There we go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to leave that to relax while we make the other pieces. So as we go, we use the 22 pins throughout this. So now we're going to make the arms. Now the arms are pink and white the same, so we're going to cast on with pink. There we go, cast on with pink. And we need 2 arms, obviously. And we're going to cast on with pink. And we're going to do 6 rows in pink. So we set the counter and we do 6 rows. There we go, clunky first few rows. There's your 6 rows. So after we've done 6 rows, we're going to change to the white again. So we're going to snip that off there, pick up the white from still down on the floor there, change to white. to the next pin through there. Hold on to the two for a few, then tie. I'm sure you all know how to do this by now. Okay, so now we've got our white on. What we're going to do now is we're going to work 22 rows. So we're going to reset the counter and work 22 white rows. 1, 2, Tina's very squeaky. She's not warmed up enough. The other one squeaks as well. And I've got another 22 Addy, and that squeaks too. Perhaps it's just a feature of the Addy 22. Tell me if your Addy 22 squeaks. Put in the comments, my Addy 22 squeaks. Oh, there we go. I thought I'd gone past. Anything that's me talking about squeaky Addies. There we go. 20, 21, and 22. There we go. So now we've done 22. We just cast off with the needle method. Okay, so we did the same as we did before. Around, you cast off. I don't know how you guys cast off, but this is how I do it. Whichever way works for you guys. Come on, I can't get the... There we go. Right. So now we're just going to go casting off our arm. This white wool is much more thicker than the pink, even though it's Aran weight. So that just goes to show that not all Aran weights are the same. Well, not all yarn weights are the same. You could use 2 different 3 weights and they could look completely different. But I don't know whether you noticed it on the head and body. I'll show you once this is off. You might be able to see it on this too. So. But the pink looks much thinner. There we go. So we've got that off now. So we're just going to stretch that out. You won't see it very well on this because it's only 6 rows, but I'll show you here. Look, you can see that here. I mean, they're both 4 weight, but look, you can see the difference from the white to the pink. How different that is there. Look, you've got a... I mean, it doesn't matter because it's the head and the body, you know. So it's, if you're making toys, it doesn't matter too much, you know. But please be aware if you're making stuff to wear, you know, that trying to match it isn't going to be easy. Right, so that's your arm. Okay, so you need to do another one of those. I won't do another one of those. I'll just let that rest there. So that's your arms. Now the feet are white as well because we've got this is the body. So I mean, we're going to cinch that inside. So this is the body like this. You can't really see it there. That's the body. That's the body, like that's the head, that's the body. So, and then the feet are going to go on this end. Okay, like that. So this is just the body and the legs. The legs are going to be here. But obviously it's going to have a long dress, so you're not going to see the white underneath. You can do pink if you like, but I just did white. But you're not going to see the legs anyway because they're going to be under the dress. So what we're going to do now is we're going to do the feet. And the feet are easy because they're all in the colour that you're going to do for your shoes. So in this case, white. You can do a different colour if you want to, but there we go. So we're going to cast on with white. There we go. Ooh, is that right? Yeah, white. There we go, yeah. Now we put that in there. And then for the shoes, the feet, we're going to do 30 rows. I'm going to reset the counter. There we go. Right. And then we're going to do 30 rows for the feet. Oh, dear me. It's easy, isn't it? Once you get past the first couple of rows, it's fine. See how much steadier this is now. Now I've actually not got it clamped to the... I mean, it's still a bit wobbling. As you can see, the clamps here and there. It's clamped to the piece of wood and then the wall stuck to the table, but I've already told you that. I mean, it's still wobbling because this table's not the best. But it's okay. I usually have it clamped onto my table with the holes in because there's a hole there, and I have this clamped on the table with my holes in, and then it goes straight through the holes. The table with holes in are over there. But because I've got the camera set up on this socky trestle table, why is that coming up like that? Is that banging something? Is there something underneath there? No, it's okay. It's still quite stiff. Oh, goodness me. Next time I'm going to do this downstairs on the dining table because it's more sturdy and it clamps better to the dining table. Sometimes there's a lot of noise going on in the kitchen and some people can't hear what I'm saying. Now we're coming up 25, 26, there we go, we're coming up to 30 rows now. (29) and 30, there we go. So now we're just going to cast this off. So that's 30 rows. Round and round and round and round we go. And cast it off. Cast off your shoe, and then we make another shoe. There we go, nearly there. 30 rows. There we go. Take your needle out, stretch it all out. Stretch, and we didn't need to do another one of these. Okay, so that's your shoe. Okay, so we need to do another one of those. Then we're going to move on to the skirt part of the dress. Okay, now what we're going to do now is we're moving on to the groom, okay, because the bride's all done. So we're moving on to the Groom now, and we do the same sort of thing with the Groom. We use the same row counts for the head. So as you can see, I've already put the pink on here and put a drawstring in. Okay, so we've got our 25 rows of pink on here. Okay, I'm just going to take that out now, and I'm going to change to a different colour. Whatever colour you want to do the Groom is entirely up to you. I'm using this lovely blue. It's more like a blue-green colour. It's very nice. It's dark. I mean, it looks, to me, it looks blue, but it's a bluey green. It's like a dark teal colour, if you like. But as I say, it looks blue on the camera. And this is Aaron Weight. I'm not actually sure what brand this is. I think it's another Woolcraft because it's been rolled off. So, but I think it's Woolcraft. So this is what the colour that I'm going to use for the suit of the Groom. So I'm just going to move my white out of the way. There we go. Put the blue there down on the floor. So we're going to add the blue to the pink. Okay. So we're just going to take that out of there, and then we're going to change it over. Oops, to the blue. Okay, grab onto them, a couple of stitches and tie it all up. Okay, so we've done our 25 rows there. So we do our don't forget, we do our 23 rows, put in the drawstring, and then another row of pink. Then we change it to the blue or whatever colour you're using for your Groom. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to work 14 rows of the blue. Okay, that's 1-4. 14 rows. So we do the timer, and then we're going to do 14 rows. 1-4. Oh dear me, that's a bit crackly. I've not used this one for a while. Look at that. Nice colour. It's like a dark teal. I was looking for navy blue, but I can you believe all the yarn I've got and I've got no navy blue? I've got dark blue, like dark blues, like royal, but I wanted a really dark, but no. So this one will do. This is nice. I like this one. So what did I say we had to do? 14. Right, so there we go. There's 14 rows just gone round there. So, right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to change this out to a light blue. Okay, and this is the light blue that I'm going to use. If I can find the end of it, there we go. So I'm going to use a light blue. I'm only going to use a light blue for a couple of rows. So like a belt for his trousers, pants. So so what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to change that out and do 2 rows of light blue. Okay, just going to tie that up. Don't forget to tie it because otherwise it'll come all unravelled. I always tie it up as I'm doing it because otherwise I'll forget some that's done. So we do 2 rows. So that's 1, 2. There we go. And then we're going to change back to the dark blue. So we're going to go back to the dark blue. There we go. Okay, right, okay, so we're back to the dark blue now, and now what we're going to do is work 58 rows of dark blue. So we're going to reset our timer. There we go, and we're going to do 58 rows. Okay, 58 rows of the dark blue. Whatever colour you want to do. My husband wore a dark blue suit when we got married, and I wore pale blue, like this colour. I wore this colour, a very pale blue. Because we've both been married before, my mum made my dress. Colin wore a dark blue three-piece suit. It was the hottest day of the year because we got married in August, and at that particular time it was the hottest day of the year, and he's wearing a three-piece wool suit. Yeah, oh goodness me, it was a hot day. Obviously not as hot as it has been of late, but yeah, this was sort of 30 years ago, well 28 years ago now. Right, how many rows did I say? 58, wasn't it? So I'm sitting there chattering. We got 58 rows. Just as well 58 rows doesn't take long on this machine, isn't it? And it's touching now, so we can pull it up a little bit. There we go. I like it to be up, because then it don't get all mangled up as it starts twisting. That's why I like it to go down my hole, because we're not in a hole on a holy table. Right, 47, 48, 10 more rows to go. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thunderbirds are go. Or stop in this case. Right, so that's our 58 rows. Okay, then now what we're going to do is we're going to put the light blue back on and do the 2 rows. Okay, so we're going to find, where's the light blue? Oh, here it is. There's the light blue. This is nice, this light blue. So we'll put the light blue on. Hold them together. Tie them up. And we do 2 rows. So that's 1. And that's 2. Then we take it off again. Okay. And we put the dark blue back on. I've got a little visitor. Hello. Hello, little visitor. It's my little dog. I know you can't see her though. Oh, she's gone again now. Right. She just come to see what I was doing, most probably. So, right, we're going to just put the dark blue back in again. And away we go. Tie that up. Tie it up. There we go. And then we're going to have another, what is it, 14 rows? Yes, 14. So we're going to reset the timer again. I'll get it right and say reset the counter one day, won't I? So, and then we've got 14 rows, 1 4. Go 14 rows. So then we're going to take this off now, the blue, and we're going to go back on with the pink. Pink, 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 pink. Where are you, pink? Here we go. Here's the pink. So we're back on with the pink. Oh, by the way, you don't have to use pink. If you want to use any other skin colour, please feel free to do so. Absolutely. There we go. So we put the pink in there. There we go. And then we're going to reset the timer, counter, and we're going to do 25 rows. So away we go. It's a bit clattery, this pink. I should have taken it off the ball. I should have made an effort to actually look for the ball that I used instead of taking it off the eyeball. But hey ho. It's 20, 5 more to go. Oh, clattering again. It's the tension, that's all that is. It's coming straight off the cord, it's the tension, that's all that is. Ah, there we go, 25. So we've done that now. So we'll take this off now. We cast this off. Okay. And you finished your 25 rows. You cast it. Okay. Right then. So we're taking it off now. Take it off, take it off. Don't sing. Go. It's all off now. Stretch that out there. You can see me stretching it. There we go. That's our stretch there. And they see that's got a... You see these notches are going to be the back. Yeah, they're the back. So... So that's the jogs there. So there's a bit of a, yeah, well that's going to be at the back, so that's no probs. So that's your groom. There we go. Now we do the arms the same way as we did the bride's arms. except we're using the blue instead of the white. So what we'll do is we put on we do 6 rows of pink or skin colour. We cast on the skin colour pink. I found a nice peachy colour this morning, and I thought, oh, that would be nice for skin, but it wasn't. It was just number 3 weight, it wasn't 4 weight, so I thought, well, never mind, use pink. Right, so reset our counter on 6 rows. Come on, you can do this. And Athena is still squeaky. There we go. 6 rows. So we take that off for 6 rows. And then we're going to do the sleeves. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put 1 row of light blue first of all, just 1. 1 row of light blue, so it's like you can see the cuff of the shirt. Okay. Just 1 row. Then we're going to put the dark blue back on. There we go, dark blue, come up, dark blue, there we go. I'm saying dark blue because it's teal. There we go. Take that around and tie the 2 blues together. Get the right, make sure you've got the right end. There we go. Right, so now we've got the dark blue on there, and we're going to work. Let's have a look. Just having a look at the pattern I've written. So we've done pink, we've done 1. So now we're going to do 21 rows of dark blue. So reset the counter, and 21 rows of dark blue. A song about squeaking. I'll make something up. 19, 20 and 21. There we go. So that's 6 pink rows, 1 light blue row, and 21 dark blue. Brown. Now we're going to cast off. Okay, going to cast that off. I think I've cut that a bit too short, but I'm sure I'll manage. There we go. So we do another one of these, and then we can move on to the feet, which is exactly the same as the bride's feet, except you can do it in whatever colour you want the groom's shoes to be. I'm going to do black. or you could do dark brown, you could do a different shade of blue. It's entirely up to you. I think that black shoes looks very nice, so I'm going to do black shoes. Okay, then we give that a stretch, and there you can see the cuff of the shirt. That's what it's supposed to be like, so we'll give that a stretch out. Then we'll move on to the feet. Okay, so I've got black, I've got big twist black, okay, which is a 4-weight. So I'm going to chuck the 4-weight on the machine. Here we go. Casting on, casting on. There we go. And we just do 30 rows. So we set our counter and away we go, 30 rows for the feet, shoes. These boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. One of these days these boots are gonna walk all over you. I can't sing, but that doesn't mean that I won't. And I couldn't think of one with shoes, so it had to be boots. Are there any songs about shoes? Oh yeah, no. What's that David Bowie one? Put on your red shoes. What's that one? What's that called? I don't know. But it's not red shoes, it's black shoes. Anyway, where are we? Right, okay. Naturally, we go fast. So we're going to do 30 rows of black for his shoes. Stroke. Boots are made for walking, and that's just what they'll do. Sorry. Just stop singing. 27, 28, 29, and there we go. I love this big twist. It looks so nice. I mean, you can't see that on there because the machine's black, but it's so nice. So we do 30 rows, cast off. Okay. We're casting off the black, and then we need to do another one of these. Okay. Oops. Come on, don't get stuck. There we go. Let's move that off there, out of the way. Almost there now. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go, all done. And we'll just pull that through there. Give it a stretch, and there we've got our boot. So made for walking. Shh, shh, stop singing, Ju. Right, there we go. So we need 2 arms, 2 boots, and there we go. So that's our arms and that's our boots. I know they're the same size, but I'll show you how to do that after. Okay. So now we're going to move on to the next part. Oops. Okay, so now we're moving on to the skirt for the bride. Okay, and for the skirt, I thought we might be able to get away with using a small machine, but I don't think we are. So I don't think it'll work, because I'll believe it or not, I haven't done this pattern before. I designed it, but this is the first time I'm actually knitting it. So it's a first for you and a first for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to do the bride's skirt part of her dress on a 46 pin addy. You can use a 48 centro, you can use a smaller centro if you want to use a 40, but I think it's going to have to be bigger than a 22. Okay, because we like a big, nice, lacy dress. That's what we're going to have. Okay. So now you can do quite a lot with this. I'm not going to do a wrap pattern. You can do a wrapping pattern if you want to on the skirt of the dress, but I'm not going to do it. I will do it off camera so we can see what it looks like, and then I can decide whether. Anyway, yeah, well, actually I could just sort of start that again. Hello everyone, now we're going to move on to the next part, okay, which is the skirt for the bride. Okay, I thought I could use the 22, but the 22 is not going to work, so I've got out my Addy 46. This is Voyager. Okay, so Voyager is going to help me to make the skirt for the bride. Okay, you can use a 48, you can use a centro, you can use whatever you like. It's got to be bigger than the 22 though. So I just wanted a big billowy dress. So right, to start the dress, we're going to start at the hem of the dress. So what we're going to do is we're going to cast on waist yarn. Okay, so I'm going to use black, seeing as it's here and it's completely the opposite of white. So I'm going to cast on black yarn for waist yarn. Now I've gone wrong there. Yes, it's right here. I've gone wrong, so we're going to have to go back. You can see there, there's only one there. That's because I'm not concentrating, so we go back and we can start again. There, this one. There we go. And off we go again. So we're going to load this up, okay, and I'm going to do about, oh goodness me, that wasn't a very good start, was it? Let's start all over again, shall we? I haven't used this one for a while, so she might be a bit temperamental. Anyway, let's try again. Casting on. Voyager, you've got to be a good girl for mummy. Don't want to go in the naughty corner, do we? There we go. Right, now, properly, if you don't mind. There we go. That's better. Away we go with some rows. Just do about 7 or 8 rows of waist yarn. Oh goodness me, look, Voyager's having none of this today, are you, Voyager? Hmm? You're very naughty girl. I'll have to get Discovery out at this rate. Or Destiny. Destiny's over here. Discovery's downstairs. So I will. I'll just threaten you with Discovery or Destiny. I mean, I've got a Centro right next to me, but I don't know. I haven't had a Centro for such a long time. It's weird. We're not using the Centro one. Right. Okay, Voyager. Away we go again. Okay, this is what happens when you try and be too flash and go too fast. Slow, quick, slow. Do you know, I could do with a nice cup of tea. I wonder if my husband can read minds. I'll send him reading mind vibes to make me a cup of tea. There we go, seems to be doing okay now. 4, I think. I haven't set the timer, so it says I've done 1,127. Oh, I wonder how long that would look. So I'll go once more round, and then we'll change to white. So that's your waste yarn. So I'm going to put that across there. Now when I use waste yarn, I always tend to join the yarns in the same peg, unlike when you're actually using the yarn, because if you put it on a different peg you get a hole, and I don't like the way it looks. So we've got the white again, so we're going to go down on the floor with the white. And then I'm going to wrap the yarn around the same peg so that you don't get a hole. Well, that's the plan anyway. Reset the counter. Why is this counter so much more difficult to do than the 22? See, it's so easy to do the 22. This one you're like, Right, okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to crank 40 rows of white, 40. Okay, so we'll start off, and this is going to take, it'd be easy to crank 40 rows on the 22, but take a bit longer on here. So we're just going to crank out 40 rows, okay? And I just wonder why it is that this one clamps better to the table than the little one does. I mean, it's moving, but it clamps better. You can probably see it moving, the machine. It's straddling the table. The camera's clamped to the table. So we're going to carry on 40 rows. Join me back when we've done 40 rows. Oh dear, look. always the way, isn't it? Just as I'm finishing. Look at that. Typical. But never fear, because I can pick it up afterwards. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to cast off. Okay, we've done our 40 rows. Then I'm just going to cast off with the needle method, and then I'm just going to fix the drop stitches there. Because they're at the top, I'll fix them when I've taken it off the machine. So I'm just going to, I've lost my needle. That sounds about right, don't it? Come on, needle. Ah, there you are. Needle. So I'm just going to take this round. And cast this lot off. There we go. Just going to put that on there. I'm gutted about that. Thread the needle now. I've got a fan going because it's starting to get a bit hot. That's why you see the yarn blowing. So I'm just going to take that off, and if it's noisy, it's on the lowest one it can go, so it's not too noisy, but sometimes fans can get a bit noisy. I've not got an air conditioner upstairs. I don't think it's hot enough today. It's nowhere near as hot as it was yesterday. And it's always hot. The top half of my house is always hot. Always. Heat rises. That one. One round, there we go, nearly there. In fact, it's the fan's blowing the yarn all around now. At least it's cooling me down. So it's getting a bit warm sitting here. The last one. There we go. I caught one there. That one's caught on this one. Right. Okay. So I'm just going to catch up those two stitches there that have dropped, and then I'm going to just give that a stretch. That a lovely stretch, and that will be the bride's skirt part of her dress. Okay, so just let that rest while I fix the drop stitches, and I'll be back shortly, all fixed. What I'm going to do now is do an alternative skirt for the bride's dress. So we just did our plain one, which I've actually picked up the stitches there. You can see I've picked them up and stuff, so that's okay now. It's not as nice and even as I thought it would be. You can see there's some pucker in there. I didn't even notice it till I was just looking at it, but yeah. So I'm going to do a thought of an alternative skirt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these rows in a wrap stitch. So what I've done is I've cast on waste yarn and I've knit 4 rows in white. Okay, so we've got our 7 or 8 rows of waste yarn, which is that tealy blue in this case. It was the first one I put my hands on. And then I've done 4 rows already of white. Okay, now we're going to start our wrap stitching. Now we're going to do 40 rows and we've already done 4. Okay, so the 5th row is your first wrap stitch. Now to do this wrap stitch is quite easy. I'm going to take the yarn out of the feeder and close that up. I'm going to start on the first white pin after the 3 blacks, so that I know that that's the beginning of my row. So when I've actually come all the way around, I know as soon as I get to the black pins, right, okay, that's the end of the row. So to do a wrap stitch, what you need to do is you need to take your yarn out of the feeder, okay, and to do your wrap stitch we're going to start with wrapping. That's annoying me now, the fan's blowing my piece of yarn about. So we're going to wrap these 2 pins here. So we're going to gently bring them around until they both pop up, and then we're going to go around the back of the needles, okay, and underneath. So we're wrapping the yarn around it, okay. So we're going, I'll show you that again. So we're coming out of the last stitch, and then we're wrapping round the back like that, and then we gently push the handle forward and bring up the next 2 stitches, which we knit 1, 2, okay, and then again the next 2 stitches are wrapped, so we bring it round, we'll take it around the back. I still haven't learned to do this one-handed yet. Just around there, and then we take it down, knit these 2 stitches, and then back around, okay, knit 2 stitches, take it back and around, and you keep doing that all the way around. 2 stitches, wrap 2, knit 2, wrap 2, whoops, oh dear, knit 2, wrap 2, 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 knit 2, and wrap 2. Okay. Now because this is a 46 pin machine, you've got, now when we start again here, we're going to have to wrap another 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to wrap those last 2 stitches, I'm going to knit them, okay. So if you're on a 48 machine, it will work fine. It will wrap 2, knit 2, wrap 2, knit 2 all the way around. But if you've got a 46, you have to knit the last 2 stitches and not wrap them. Okay, so I'll show you another row. So we've just done our knit 2 stitches there, so we're knitting these 2 black ones, right? So we've got that 5th row. Then what we're going to do is we're going to put the yarn back in the feeder, and we're going to knit 1 row carefully, because with wrap stitches it's not your conventional stitches, and as you can see it's clunking. So slowly right round till you come to the white peg again, 1 row. We take it out and we start our wrapping again. Okay, so we wrap 2, and we knit 2. We wrap 2, and we knit 2. We wrap 2, and we knit 2. Oh dear me, that's my fault. Sorry about that, Voyager. And we wrap 2, and we knit 2. Keep going. Wrap 2, knit 2. Now always remember, when you're wrapping, wrap from the back, because otherwise you won't get the correct pattern. Okay, so when you, after you knit, take the yarn to the back and go behind your needles. Otherwise because if you come to the, if you wind it around the front, you won't get the pattern that you're after. So there we've got our knit 2, and we knit those 2 as well. So the last 4 stitches on the row, knit 4. Put it back in, and knit a row. As you go down, you will see a pattern emerging on the wrong side. Okay, that's just right. So that's your pattern. It's wrap 2, knit 2 all the way around. So the last 4 stitches, knit 4. Okay. If you're on a 48, it's knit 2, wrap 2, knit 2 all the way around. Okay. Then knit a row. Alright. So it's pattern row, plain row, pattern row, plain row, and you do that right up till you've got 40 stitches. Okay. So I'm just going to go round once more with a wrap stitch for you. Let me take her out. And we wrap 2. And we knit 2. And we wrap 2. And we knit 2. Oops. Wrap 2 from the back. Knit 2. Push it back. Wrap 2. Forward. Knit 2. Back, wrap 2, forward, knit 2. Don't wrap too tightly, because if you wrap too tightly it could break your teeth as you come round to the next row. So just gently wrap it, don't pull it like that, because you can see that's bending there. Look, so don't just wrap it like that, and then so you just don't pull it. Wrap, knit, wrap, knit. Oops. Wrap, knit, wrap, knit. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, put it back in. row, carefully. Okay. One more row, okay, so I'll show you another row. So we'll wrap 2, knit 2, wrap 2, 2, wrap 2, knit 2, wrap 2, knit 2, wrap 2, wrap, knit, wrap, stitch, put it in. Now we'll flip over to 11 now, and you can see there's a little pattern emerging on the inside there. You can see there's a little pattern emerging. So I'm just going to do one row, maybe row. There we go. So now that's 12 rows. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to carry on to 40 rows, and I'll join you when it's done. Well, here we are at row 38. So I've got another couple of rows to do. So we're on the wrap row now. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm going to do the wrap row. Okay, so we're going to wrap, 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 knit, wrap, knit. Oops. Now what did I just do there? I can't remember what I just did there. I've run the video back. So let's have a look then. Oh, that's a wrap. Knit, wrap, knit. See, forget, I'm not concentrating. Knit, wrap, knit, wrap. Oops. Right, and this is the last row, so we're going to put that in there, and we're going to chug out the last row. Oh, not like that though. Okay. So that's your last row. So now what I'm going to do is cast it off. So we're going to give that a chop. You can see the pattern, it's quite nice. Right, so let's thread the needle. It's blowing away. Okay, so we thread the needle and we're going to cast off this little skirt. Okay. caught one there. We'll do that in a minute. Let's take these off. It's another one, a little caught stitch. Just take them off. Get over, there we go. One over as well, because that one's stuck on there too. Don't know why it does that, some stitches. There we go. It's not a problem. Oh, there's another one there, look, another little caught stitch. Go underneath this caught stitch, and then it catches it. And when it comes round here, you can just pull it off the machine like that. Make sure that you catch it, because if you don't, it'll unravel when you take it off the needle. Split, the yarn split there for that one. It's okay, it's at the top, so we can sort that. I don't think that this Addie likes this yarn much. Right, there we go. Stretch it out. Now we've got our pattern on our little skirt, as you can see. And that's going to be the pattern on the dress. If you wanted to do it on the bodice part, because when you actually put the skirt on the body, if you wanted to do it for the first 14 rows of here, you can, and then it'll match all the way down. There we go, so that's the skirt. It looks really pretty. You don't need any extra lace. There we go, so that's that part. And now we're going to move on to the next part. Join me in a minute when we're doing the next part. Our next part is making the shirt for the groom. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is we've stretched our work out. This is how it's come off the machine. We've stretched our work out and it's all nice and relaxed and everything. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn the work inside itself. Okay, I don't know whether you can see what I'm doing. I can't actually see the camera. So I'm just going to turn the work inside itself, poke that in there, there we go, so we can pull that through, there we go. There we go. So we pulled that, so, and then you've got your drawstring, which is the white here, so we're going to pull the drawstring through to the other side. You could use a little needle for that to pull it through. So you just pull your drawstring through. Try and find which one it is, and then, oops, no, it ain't that one, is it? There we go. It's that one there. Right, so now we've got your drawstring through to the other side, we can close it all up. Right, so now we've got the ends, that's the back, because we've got the jog join at the back, and I forgot to actually finish the roll off. Anyway, so these ends are going to be cinched, but before we do that, we're going to do a spot of embroidery to define the shirt. So I've thread my needle with some of this blue. I'm going to cut it, it's still attached to the ball. So I'm just going to cut that there, and then I'm going to tie a knot in the end of the yarn. Okay. You need quite a big knot because it will come through. So then what we're going to do is we're going to, these hairs all over it. So what we're going to do is we're going to come up here and make sort of like a that, okay, so it's like the shirt underneath, you can see the shirt underneath. Okay, so that's the jacket, this is the trousers obviously. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take my yarn down, I'm just going to have a look at that and see if we can find the middle. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 5 would be about the middle, so we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so we need to go up there. Okay, so that's the middle, I would say, here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to poke the needle in there until it comes out of the right place. There we go, it's about there, I would say. There we go, so I'm going to pull that through there like that. Not too tight because you'll pull it through even though there's a knot in it. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to do a stitch to take it up there like that, but we've got to go through both of the thicknesses, but we're going to use this stitch here, right down the middle of this stitch here, so that you've got a line so that you can. So I'm just going to quickly sew that. I'm not very good at embroidery, but we shall see. So I'm going to do a back stitch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it in to that stitch and come up in front of that stitch there like that. So I'm taking it a stitch at a time all the way up. Don't pull it too tight. So now I'm going into back into the stitch that I came out of and up to the next stitch. There we go, there. Okay, and pull it, not too tight, but tight enough so that it don't look squiffy. Okay, then we're going to do that again, a back stitch, and go up to the next stitch. And then we keep doing that all the way up to the top there. I don't know whether I like this bent needle. I think they're good for something, but embroidery isn't one of them. This is the only one I've got up here, so go into that stitch and up there we go. It's a lot easier to do this before it's all stuffed and everything. that's right up to the top there. Oops, a daisy. It's got right up to the top there. So just going to take it back down and back up again, like that. Now if you want to go back again to make it thicker, you can. If you want to go back down again. I know it's a bit rubbish because I'm rubbish at embroidery. You can take it back down again so that you've got a double lot there if you want. You don't have to. But now what you're going to do is you're going to go along here. You're going to go round. You're going to take so it's like a collar, if you like. It won't look like a collar, but it's still going to be blue. So I suppose if you wanted to, you could actually knit the row in like we did with the sleeves. So you could do that if you wanted to do that here. That's quite acceptable, and then you'd have your collar already. So, but because obviously I didn't do that, I didn't even give it a thought, to be honest, but I think that might be a better idea. I'm just gonna quickly embroider it round. Okay, so I'm just gonna go over these pink stitches with the blue. But what I'm doing, I'm going into the blue stitch as we're coming back, so that you don't get a gap like that there. So didn't do it on that one, and I've got a bit of a gap. So I'm just going to do that there and try and keep it straight, because I am absolutely pathetic at sewing. Pathetic. Oh, pulled that too hard now. If my life depended on sewing, you'd be coming to my funeral. Absolutely pathetic I am. I used to do a lot of sewing years ago, like embroidery and stuff like that, but you know, when you don't, like, if you don't use it, you lose it, as they say, and I definitely lost it with sewing. Definitely. There we go. I'm trying to keep it straight. Oh, I am so pants at this. It's unbelievable. Pants, pants, pants. So, welcome to the Watch Julie So Very Pants show. You guys are probably much better at this than me, so, but if I'd have used my brain and done a row like that there, I wouldn't be able to do it, would I? So, what an idiot. There you go. You learn something every day. On the next one, I'll do it. When I make another groom, I'll do a nice shirt for him. Because it is difficult. I mean, if it was a hand knit, then I'd be laughing because I could knit it all in. But as you very well know, you're limited to what you can, like the shapings you can do on a circular machine. But I'm sure soon enough someone will come up with something. Won't someone? Yes, we will. There we go. It won't be me. I'm rubbish, especially at sewing. little bit there, so I'm going to take that up. That's the back. I've just gone down there because it's gone down there, so oops, daisy, there we go, not too tight. There's me saying don't sew it too tight, and I'm pulling it like nobody's business. Nearly there. Oh, I quite like this colour. It's this dark blue, this teal colour. It's come out really nice. Nearly there. So remember, peeps, don't be an idiot like me. Put a row of blue in it before you start. Just one, just need one like we did with the sleeves. And then that saves a lot of faffing about. There we go. And that's the last stitch. So I'm just going to go inside and fasten it off. Well, perhaps I ain't. There we go. Just going to go inside there and fasten it off inside. There we go. Fasten, little snip. There we go. Now we can cinch it. Okay, so we want to cinch it. If I can find the end, there we go. Oh no, what have I done? No, it's alright, it's just got caught. So I'm going to cinch that. And cinch this one. There we go. Cinch them up nicely and tie them off. There we go. Now we're not going to need these because we're going to have his hair on this. So I'm just going to snip that off and just thread it through my needles and hide the yarns. There we go. Poke it through the top of his head. Poor fella. And then we go. There's my needle. We can pull that through there. Hide the yarns in the head. And there we go. So that's our front. That's the drawstring that we'll be using to close the head up. I'm just making sure that this is all straight inside because we've got to sew again. Got to sew up the legs. Now you can do this either before or after you stuffed it, but I'm going to do it before because I'm very messy with sewing. So So I'm going to cut off a bit of the teal blue colour that we used. So I'm going to thread my needle. There we go, tie a knot. So what we're going to do, just to separate the legs, because you might notice that we didn't actually make any legs, is we're going to sew down here to define the legs so that it just looks like you're standing straight up like a soldier. Okay, so what we're going to do is where you've already got your middle line here, so as you carry on, now you have to make sure that it's straight, because we've got to go through all the four thicknesses there. Where this one only went through 2, this one's got to go all the way through, so make sure that it's dead straight. Let me just poke that in there for a minute. So we want to make sure that that's absolutely straight so that we can continue coming down here, because we're going to probably start about there and we're going to go all the way down that between there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start at the back. Okay, we'll start, let's count how many down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that will do, I think. So 9 stitches down from the waist there, from that blue. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So on the 10th one, we're gonna start sewing. So I'm just going to poke that through there, and that's on the 10th stitch. I'm going to pull it all the way through. I shouldn't have made that long really. I'm going to check the back because we've got a thing. So if that will go through, try and pull it through if you can, but don't pull it all the way through. There we go. It's gone through a couple of them, but it's in there now. So and what we're going to do is we're just going to back stitch like we did here all the way down, but we're going to go all the way through. So I'm just going to see where I come out there on the back. Just want to check that it's centre. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's fine. Oops, I've pulled it out again. Now I've got to do it again. So there we go. That one. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's too far down. So we need to bring it up to there. There we go. And then pull it through, and that gives you your first stitch in your trousers legs. There we go. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to go back to where we started from again. And then we're going to back stitch all the way down, okay? But we're going to keep stitching all the way through the 4 layers of fabric, all the way down. Okay, so I'm taking this quite the stitches quite wide. And you can pull it tight because we don't actually want to see these stitches. But I suppose you will see them a little bit once you stuff them. So I'm bringing that down 2 stitches at a time. Oh, it's difficult to see really, it's because it's a dark colour, isn't it? And when you're doing the bride, you do the bride in exactly the same way with the legs. Which I'll show you shortly. Take that through there. And we can just pull that around underneath there so it catches the foot there to separate the feet. Okay, and there you've got your legs. Okay. If you want to go back up to make it extra secure, by all means do so, but there's not really any need. So what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to tie that off. Hide my yarn in the work. There we go. And that's defining your legs. Okay, so in the bride's case, because she's white, you would do it exactly the same way. So you'd count the same amount of stitches because it's the same amount. I mean, it might look bigger because the wool's thicker, the yarn's thicker, but you'd do it in exactly the same way. You'd count your 5 stitches on each side, and then you'd go down the middle. Okay, from about there. Okay, because if you can use your Groom as a guide, so you could just count your 9 stitches from there. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you would come across and start about there. If you wanted to put a pin or a marker in it, a stitch marker, by all means do so. I'll just do it by eye. So that is how we shape our body. Okay, you can do exactly, the bride works exactly the same to make the body. So now with the arms, the arms are slightly different. Okay, so what we're going to do, let me move the body over there out of the way, and I'll show you the arms. Now we've got these ends here. Now we don't need to cinch that right up, so I'm just going to keep that like that for now. Just going to trim these ends off. There we go. So what we're going to do is I'm going to cinch the pink. Cinch the pink up. Okay. So we cinch the pink up, and then we fold it in half. We fold our arm in half, and then we mattress stitch the seam closed. If I can find, right, there we go. Might need that later. So with mattress stitching, it doesn't really matter what colour you use, because when you pull it up, if you do it properly, you won't see it. So I'm just going to put a stitch here just to tie off the cinch bit there. Okay, and then I'm going to mattress stitch all the way up. Mattress stitching all the way down to the bottom. It's a bit of a pain in the neck when you've got a fan blowing your yarn around, but hey ho, these things are sent to try us. So here we go. I'm going to keep going with the pink because, like I said, you won't actually see the pink when it's properly sewn. If you want to, you can change the colour. It's absolutely your choice. I can't find it. There we go. And those of us that have done blankets and stuff will know how to mattress stitch. And you would do the same with the bride's arms. You would do the same. It's not really worth me showing you how to do the bride's arms because they're exactly the same, as just a different colour. So the only difference with doing the bride is she's got a skirt, and that's the only difference, because once we've got the doll actually put together, because here this one needs the arms there and the boots, and then that's basically him done. Obviously he needs his hair and his face and stuff, but you know, that's something that we'll do after. So once that's all done, the bride is done the same way, then we can decorate and dress them, and that's different. That's the difference, because the bride is, you know, it's a bit more decorative because she has got the long skirt. What I'm going to do with this here, I'm going to see if I can find some little tiny whiny buttons, and I'm going to put some buttons up the side there. I might actually put on both sides, you know, so it looks like a double-breasted jacket. We'll see. I'll see what I can find. So I know I've got some little buttons. So yeah. So that, but you know, a groom won't need much embellishing. I mean, he'll need a buttonhole, but I can show you how to make those. All right, okay, so we've run out of that. So I'm going to turn that around and pull that up there now. Now, you see what I mean? You can't actually see that pink now. So I'm going to rethread the needle and carry on. There's only a little bit left. There we go. Just pull that back so I can see where I went in. There we go. So we'll go into there. With these toys, embellishing these toys, you know, your only resistance is your imagination. You know, if you can embellish these toys however you wish. I've got some good ideas how I want to do my bride. So once I get into my little boxes to find all my embellishments and lace and what else have you, we will be cooking on gas or electric, whatever it is you got. Right, so we're going to pull that up there, or not. Why have we got a little resistance there? There we go. Let's just try again. No. Oh, well, that's why. We've got a little loop there, so I'm just going to snip that loop off. There we go. Yeah, that should pull. There we go. There we go. Okay. So I'm just going to tie it off inside. And hide the pink. Hide the pink inside. So that's that part done. Now what we've got to do is we're going to close the top. So we poke that in there like that. I'm very technical, me, very technical. And this one is just ready to cinch. That's the inside one. So you cinch that one up. And where's the outside one? The outside one's gone missing. So I've probably, oh, there it is. Yeah, so I've probably stitched it inside. There we go. It's there somewhere. Anyway, it is there somewhere. I'll just find it. Come on, now you come. Right, well anyway, I'll just pull this up to cinch it. There we go. So you're going to cinch the inside, cinch the outside. I'll just snip that. Cinch the inside, cinch the outside, tie them up. You don't need to stuff these. Tie them up, then hide your yarn ends inside. There we go. It's a pain in the neck sewing these ends in. Needs must, people, needs must. There we go, that's two, and then we need the long one. Snip them off. Snip, snip, snip. Snippy, snip. Snippy, snip. And there we have our arm stroke sleeve. Okay. Now I don't need to stuff it because it's all flexible and everything, you know, so. And then your arm is going to go here. Now that's the back here. You can just see there where I've sewn it there, the back. So what you'd keep that to the back. You'd keep all your jog joins to the back. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is show you how to make the boot. Okay, and we've got black. Can you see the black or white? Which one would you prefer? You'd be able to see the white better, probably, wouldn't you? Yeah, so we'll do a white one. Because black might be a bit strain on the eyes. So this is how you do the boot. Okay. You don't actually cinch this up all the way, but you do cinch it a little bit. Okay. Okay. So you just cinch it a little bit, and then we'll just start sewing. And again, we mattress stitch this. So this is your back, so this will go on the heel. This is your heel, so once it's done, it will go like that. Okay. So cinchy end goes towards the back. Okay, but I'll show you that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to sew the edges. Sorry about that, peeps, I keep forgetting. So we're going to sew it in half. So we'll use the yarn that's already there. And we're going to sew it in half. So we're going to fold it in half like that. And then we're just going to mattress stitch. Well, obviously what we'll first do is put a little stitch in there so that it doesn't unravel too much. Right, there we go. And then we're going to mattress stitch along here. And if you actually look, where you folded it in half, you can actually go all the way round here. So I'm going to start over there. Okay, and I'm going to come round this here, not there. But I'm not coming, well, yeah, you know what I mean. So we're going to just follow the stitch around, and then we start over this side. There we go. Like that. And then, so now you've got your line to follow. So you can mattress stitch the foot together. Give that a tug, take that out, and we give it a tug, and that's that sewn up there. So I'll just do the other side and I'll meet you back here after. Well, here we go, people. That's the feet. I'm just going to shove that in there. Now, I made a very silly mistake earlier on when I said we needed 2 feet. We don't, we only need 1. I think it's because it's too hot and my brain's a bit addled. No, what you have to do is when you make the feet, it's like the body, it will go on the bottom like that and you'll separate it with a stitch. And then it goes on and you stuff it and then sew it onto the feet on like that. So you don't need to make 2 of these, you only need to make 1. So yeah, honestly, so that's what you do with this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same as we did with the legs. We're going to go and sew them down the middle so it separates the feet. So we put a little knot in our thing, and then we're going to sew through all four thicknesses. Now you can see that this is still uncinched. We don't need to do anything with that because we need to stuff it, and then once we've stuffed it we can close it all up. So what I'm going to do again, I'm going to find the middle. So we've got 1, 2, And I can't see it, it's white, I can't see, it's just as well it's white and not black. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this would be about the middle here. So I'm going to go up there like that, and I'm going to start my sewing here. Now I'm just going to check again. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, okay, there we go. So I'm just going to pull that through, and the knot there, try and pull the knot through at least one layer. There we go. Then I'm just gonna go back over the top there so that it gathers up that there, and then we're going to go back into the same stitch there, like we did when we finished off the bottom of the trousers there. Now I'm just going to sew up the middle like we did with the feet, the legs. So we're just going to go up there like so, to make sure that you get it in the right in between the rows there. Stitches rather, not rows. Rows are horizontal, stitches are vertical stitches. So we're sewing up the stitches as we go. Almost there. Just put that one through, and then we're going to finish it off with a little stitch there so that it pulls it down a little bit, so that we've got sort of like a dip, if you can see, like that. Okay, then we're just going to make sure that you've still got your dip and fasten it off at the back underneath, because this is the bottom of the feet. So we could just fasten it off at the, underneath the foot there. Whoops. And then hide your yarn in your work, as we always do. There we go. Snip, snip. So that's your feet, okay, for your doll. So that's the feet, and the doll is going to stand like that on top of the feet. Okay, so you can see, but bearing in mind he's going to have black boots. So the bride will stand on there. So as it's coming along, you will see it's coming along. We're getting there. So that's how we do the feet. Obviously we're going to have a little bit of stuffing in there to define the feet a little bit more. So we'll have a little bit of stuffing in there, and then we'll close up the back and sew it to the bottom of the doll, like so. So we'll have a sort of, the feet will be more defined. But don't forget, one of them, not two. 2 arms, 1 foot. Right, so I'm going to have have a see what's next, and I'll be back shortly. Okay everyone, here's the next bit. We're just going to finish off the bottom of the bride's skirt. So what you need is a crochet hook. Doesn't matter which size, but that's about 4mm, but you don't want anything smaller than that because you'll find it hard to hook your stitches through. So first of all, what you need to do is, because we've used waste yarn, we're going to just finish it off. You can see that I've started here. I started here, and then all I've done is I've just hooked one stitch over the other all the way around. So I'll just show you what I've been doing. There's the stitch there. So what I've been doing is going through this stitch here and pulling it through there like that. Okay, so then you go to the next stitch. You know how to crochet, you'll know how to do this. Through there like that. Okay, don't pull it too tight because we want the edge to be a bit loose. So as you're going round, I've been sort of pulling it back out like that. So this is what we've done. So you just pull these stitches up all the way around. Oops. There we go, we've got a few left. There we go, 1, 2 and 3. There we go. Make sure you've picked up all the stitches, give it a bit of a tug, and then we're just going to finish it off by pulling this through like that, like how you would normally finish your crochet off. There we go. So then what you do is you take your waste yarn off. Now, did I do this waste yarn? Right. Yeah. Okay. So you take your waste yarn off. Just pull the waste yarn through like that. It's black, so it's hard to see. I should learn really. Don't use black yarn. It's hard to see. Okay, so I'm just pulling it through there like that. So we've loosened it, and then we just take it off. Just take off the black yarn. This bit always causes me a problem, the last bit. I always get it all caught up and stuff. Now look, see, I've got it caught up there. There we go. It's got a little knot in that. I must have tied it when I was knitting it so that it didn't come undone. That's probably what I've done. There we go. Oops. There we go. Right, now I've got a little stitch there that's still. So I'm just going to catch that stitch there, put that back on the needle and catch it through there. There we go. And then I can pull that out like that, and there's the bottom of your skirt finished. You obviously got to finish off your end with your needle, wherever I might have put the needle. It's hiding. There it is. So you just finish it off. just going to push it through some stitches there like that, and snip the end off. Okay, so there we've got, oh, these little bits now are really annoying me. So there we've got the skirt now. That can be the back. I'm going to put lace over the top of this, so you're not actually going to see this, because it's going to have lace over the top. So then when we use the other end will squiff up like that to make the skirt. And then once the doll's done, we put the skirt on the doll, we put the lace on the skirt. So that is your skirt done. Okay, so we've got feet, we've got arms. Okay, so we're getting there, we're getting there. Okay, next part coming up shortly. Now the next part is doing the stuffing. So as you can see, I've got all the body pieces here. There's the feet, the legs, body, head and arms. So what we're going to do is we're going to stuff the pieces that need stuffing. Now the arms don't need stuffing. Okay, so we could put the arms over there. So first of all, I'm going to stuff the feet. Now you need polyester stuffing. Okay, polyester stuffing is here. This is a nice one that I got from Amazon. It's really nice. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use little bits to stuff inside the feet here. So I'm just going to gently poke that in there. I'll do little bits at a time. Okay, and I'll stuff the other one, other side, and then you can see how stuffed you want it, if you like, for want of a better word. Putting that right down there, another little bit in there. That's only a tiny bit, but it wouldn't make a difference. Okay, there we go. And then you can have a look and see if that's stuffed enough. But you can always add more, take some out, you know, when we've actually stuffed this piece here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to stuff this through the leg. Okay, now you might need a knitting needle or something to poke the stuffing in. I've got a hook that I've really used, so we're going to just start stuffing the leg there and just pushing it up towards the head. If you wanted to stuff, before you actually fix these legs into place, if you wanted to stuff the body, by all means do so. Then you can just stuff to here, sew the legs and then stuff the legs. So I'm just pushing that down as far as I can go. I just find it easier to sew before I stuff it. It's just my preference, but I'm just going to push that down with the hook. Right down into the head. It's not down into the head. So we get some more stuff in. There we go. Stuff the other side as well so that it evens it out a little bit. Push it all down into the head. I'm going to get a needle so that I can push it up harder. I've just got a long knitting needle and I can just poke it. There we go. Poke it up to the head there. Stuffing. It does look a bit bumpy and lumpy, but once you've stuffed everything, you can adjust it all and poke it around and everything. So just going to give that another shove up there. Bearing in mind that we've got to have the neck here. Okay, so going to do is I'm just going to squidge around the head. I keep forgetting there. Squidge around the head, and then I'm going to tie the neck. So I'm going to get a bit of pink. Okay, where's the pink? There we go. Here's pink. So I'm just going to get a bit of pink. I didn't put a drawstring in this one, so I'm just going to tie a bit of. Let me just check the back. Well, that's the back, so I'm going to put that to tie at the back. So we'll just tie that around. And tighten that up as tight as you want it. There we go, that should be fine. You can squidge around and stuff and finish stuff in the legs. You can see that now that's starting to take shape now with the stuffing coming down further. So the legs are starting to take shape. And we can just poke all that in there like that. Just see how that's looking. And then we can look at our feet and think, okay, let's see if this needs any more stuffing. So that is how we're going to fix it onto the feet, like that. So I don't think personally that needs any more stuffing in them feet. If you wanted to stuff a little bit more in the body, then fine, but I'm just going to leave this as it is now. Okay, so we've got a clearly defined head, body, legs and feet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to close up this edge here. I'm just going to sew that. I know that you can actually pull that and it will cinch closed, but I wanted to keep it straight, so I'm going to over sew that, and then I'm going to attach it to the bottom there, which I will show you. So just let me bring myself forward, because sitting on this thingy is a bit hard on the backside. So I'm just going to, there we go. So I'm just going to tidy it up, because it's obviously, because you can cinch the ends. I'm just going to tidy it up, tuck it in, so that it looks tidier. And then I'm just going to over sew. Oops, daisy. There we go. Tuck that in there. I'm just going to over sew these two together. Just going to give that a little bit of a poke to poke that inside. There we go. And then we're going to carry on along here. You just need to catch the outside ones. You don't really need to go through all four layers. Just these two outside ones to catch closed. And then you can just poke the inside down. There we go. So now we've got our shoes sewn up there. We could tie that off and hide the yarn tail in the work, because that would not be enough to sew on. So I'm just going to snip that off, and then what I'm going to do is, if there's any little bits poking out, I'm just going to, I'm just going to poke them inside with the hook. Okay, because that would tidy it all up a little bit. So there we go, just poke it inside with the little hook. Yeah. Right, no. That's the idea. It hasn't gone in, but just poke it all in. Right, so now we've got our little feet, we can actually sew them on. So what we're going to do is we're going to rethread our needle with some white. Oop, there we go, there's the white. Goodness. Can't find the end. There we go. Thread our needle with some white. There we go. And then I'm just going to put a little knot in the bottom there. And we're going to fix. Now making sure that you've got, I don't want to be, that's the back, that's why I've tied that on so I know it's the back on. And the amount of times I've made these little dolls and little things and sewn the feet on the wrong way around. Yeah, that'd be right. Hand knitted. I've not made these with these little dolls with the machines. Not these ones. I have made, oh yeah, shh. Sew the lip, right, so I'm going to sew them. So I'm just going to start over here and I'm just going to bring that onto there so that because that's going to, you're not going to see that little knot because it's going to be sewn onto here. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it over onto the back, and we're going to mattress stitch around the pink and the white to sew them, both the feet, onto the legs. So just going to mattress stitch that, oops, on. Just going to put a little tiny bit of stuff in this leg here, as it seems to be, it doesn't seem to be equal, but that's just might be my eyes. Here we go. So I'm just going to hold this here so that you can see how I'm doing this. So I'm just mattress stitching. So I'm just going to trying to get it so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Just gonna. Oh. It's always the beginning that starts off. Once you get going, it's fine. It's just a matter of getting it attached. So there we go. I'm going to mattress the pink now. There we go. What you have to remember is to keep this join and this join together. So and that might like that's lying flat, but what we're going to do is we're going to tilt it, so it's just easier to sew. That's all. It's so much easier to sew it with it laying flat. It is when you're doing a video. So I'm just going to pull that now, pull that up. There we go. And then I'm going to carry on this side. There we go. Now we've got the grooves there that we're gonna go down into the groove there with 2 stitches. And then I'm going to go up into the pink groove and do the 2 stitches there. So I know that the grooves are together. Then we just carry on mattress stitching round to the end, so join me back when I've finished mattress stitching around the edge. Okay, so now we've done the back. That's the back of the legs there, the feet. And then we've come round to the front, and now what we're going to do is we're going to continue mattress stitching. You can see I've done a couple of stitches there, because what we're going to do is we're going to sew them so that we've got the feet like that. So it's still laying flat, but I'm mattress stitching here, and then I've gone down onto the foot about 4 stitches from the top, and I'm just gently sewing that up there. Okay, so we're coming up to the middle bit there. Just going to put that, oops, a daisy, there we go. So now when we pull that, this is going to pull the leg up, the foot up. So as we pull that, that's going to pull the leg foot up like that. As you can see, it's pulled the foot up. So, but we're going to carry on. I'm going to go through the little groovy bit there, pull it up tight, go through the pink groovy bit there. Sound like a hippie, don't I, talking about groovy bits. And then we're going to carry on along this leg here. So I'm going to come down 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches there. Then we're going to go into there. But we're still carrying on around the edge of the leg. We just bring the yarn down further onto the foot, so that when you actually pull it up, it will flatten. Well, that's the plan anyway. You watch it not work now I've said that. There we go, nearly there. Just going to pull that, there we go, and you can see it's come up. There we go. You could just push it, and there we've got our feet. We can just carry on around here, just to bring the yarn round to finish it off. The back. So I'm just going to go in there and tie this off. And hide your yarn. So there we go. Poke that through there. Cut the end off. Okay, so now we've got our feet attached to our legs. There we go. Now we're going to attach arms to the body. So we've got our arms, and we're going to use, what I've done with this one is I've done short sleeves for this one and long arms. So the other one that I did has got long sleeves and short hands. So that one I've not done yet, but this one, okay. Now there's a number of ways that you can actually sew these on. You can thread joint them if you want to. and then you can move the arms. But because this is a bride and she's going to be holding a bouquet, I'm going to fix the arms to her body, so that she brings her hands down here and then she can hold her bouquet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to find where I seamed it, which is here, and I'm going to put the seam against the body but slightly pointing to the back. Okay, so there we go, see that one there. So what I've done, if that's the side, what I've put it slightly, and then I turn it a little bit so that it's going slightly towards the back. Okay, and then I'm going to mattress stitch around that on to her shoulder. Okay, I'm going to try to get it as level with the shoulder as I can. I mean, that doesn't look very even, that, but we can sort that out afterwards. We can just sort of pull that up and adjust that. So I'm just going to get the first arm, and there we go. So that's the side, so I'm going to put it to the side and slightly turn it, and then I'm going to mattress stitch it so that the top of the sleeve matches the top of the dress there. So I'm going to bring that up there like that. Oops, bring it into the thing now. That's got a little knot in it, so you can pull it forward a little bit. So now I'm just going to mattress stitch around the arm, about halfway down where the wire is knitted. We just mattress stitch to about halfway down, which would probably take about 3 stitches. There we go, that's 2 and 3 there. Can't keep moving this, so there we got the stitches there. Then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn it, lift up the arm and fold it, and then carry on mattress stitching along here, halfway along the white stitch, the white knitting. So we're just going to do, and that's probably about another 3 or 4 stitches there. This would be the last stitch to go along there, and we can pull it up, tighten it all up, and then we can let the arm down again and finish round the side. Okay, so we can put if you wanted to do this around again, if you wanted to go around again for extra security, then fine, that's absolutely fine. I probably will do that. But don't forget to pull your work to tighten it. There we go, I'm just going to go just round here again. Oops. Because we're at the back now, I'm going to just do that one more stitch in there and one more stitch that side, and then we're going to fasten it off underneath the arm. So lift up the arm again, and I'm going just to under there and fasten off. Hide your work. Yeah, hide your tails in your work, hide your work. It's too early in the morning. There we go, and snip, snip. And there we have our arm. There she is, with her pretty puff sleeve. So I'm just going to sew on the other arm, so meet me back here when we've done that. And there we go. Now she's got her arms, her feet, she's got all her head sorted. And that's your basic doll. Now if you were doing the Groom, you would do it exactly the same way. So the arms on, the legs on, the feet on, exactly the same way. Okay, now because we've got a bride here, we're going to need to give her a dress. So we made the dress, which is here. So now what we're going to do is we're going to fix the dress to the doll. So you can see I've crocheted off the end there where we had the waist yarn and cinched the top. Okay, so we're going to pull that open so that we can get the dolly inside, and we just slip the skirt part onto the dolly. There we go. And we've got to make sure that that's at the back. Adjust it to how long you want it, because don't forget we've got her feet in there, so that's quite long. So I'm going to just cinch that there, make sure that's on the back, and pull it up. If you want to pull it up tight so it defines the waist, absolutely no problem, which is what I've done there. Then I'm going to just sew the skirt onto the body with mattress stitch. So I'm just going to gently mattress stitch that. I don't know how you gently mattress stitch, but just carefully, one up, one down, all the way round. It's caught there. This will be fully washable. Even the stuffing is washable, so this would be fully washable. I mean, I know it's got no face and features and hair or anything yet, but we're getting there. But this is just the basic doll. Now, if you wanted to make, you could make any doll you like with this basic, the basic one that I've just shown you. You know, if you wanted to make a bridesmaid to go with this pretty bride, yeah, absolutely. Do a different colour dress, make the dress shorter maybe, put a different pattern on it, because we've got a wrap pattern on here. This is a knit 2 wrap 2 pattern. It's not my pattern, I didn't invent it. It was just one that's been around. So as you can see, I've done that on the skirt, on the tops of the sleeves and the top of the dress. Because underneath where her underwear is, that's just plain. Okay, that's just knit. And her shoes are just knit. You can put the pattern on the shoes if you want to, you know. Your imagination is your only limit. So we're just going to carry on round sewing this on. I think think she looks really pretty already, and we haven't done any embellishment or anything yet. And she hasn't even got a face. That's going to be funny. I'm not very good at faces. There we go. I think we're back to the beginning nearly now. There we go. So now we go. I'm just going to tie that off and hide it. There we go. Snip it off. There we go. Now our lovely little bride there, she's got her dress on. There's her little feet there. Her little puffy sleeves. She's looking decidedly more like a bride as we go. Now I'm gonna, when she's holding her bouquet, what we're going to do is we're going to fix her arms like that. So, and then we'll place her bouquet in between her hands. So she's like holding the bouquet like that. There we go, that's how she's going to look. There was a flower. It's a bit big, but she'll have a bouquet in her hand. That's just a big flower that was there. Yeah, anyway, that's another step for our little bride. Okay, so next is to do her hair, her face, her bouquet and her embellishments. So join me shortly for the next step. Okay, our next part is making her hair. So what we're going to do, what I'm using for this is not yarn per se. Well, it is yarn, but it's called Brazil wool hair, and you can get this from Temu, and it is acrylic, but it actually looks like hair. You can see there, it's not spun into yarn. And I bought this a while back for a different project, and I thought, why not try making a wig for my bride? So this is what I'm going to do. So what I've done here, that I think these are about 20 inches long, these strips here. I've cut them, yeah, just over 21, so they're about 21 inches long. And what I'm going to do is, there's 75 or so 70 grams on here. So this is plenty to do the hair for the bride, plenty. So what I'm going to do is cut a few more strips of this Brazil wool hair. There we go. It's just because I want to cover the head of the doll. I'm just going now to see how much we've got. So we've got the dolly there, and what I wanted to do is, obviously she's got to have her hair this way like that. So we've got her lovely long hair, and then what I want to do is just to fix the hair all the way down to the back of the head. Okay, so like that. So what I'm going to do there is, that would be enough for that. Then what I'm going to do is to make the back of the head is we're going to just see how long that is to there. It's probably half. And then we're going to cut some strips so that it makes the back of her head. So when this is on here, that covers up this part of the hair, and then we've got the back. So that's the plan. So what I'm going to do now is we've got a daisy, there we go. We've got our hair for the top of her head, and then I'm just going to, where the cinch hole is, I'm going to measure about 10. There we go, that's 10. So I'm going to do, fold it in half and cut it off. Okay, and then we're gonna snip that like that. So then we'd fix this here on the back, and then on the back of the head there, then we'd put the long pieces over the top. So what I'm going to just do now, we'll move the long pieces up there. I'll make some more of these shorter pieces. Let's move the dolly out of the way. So I'll probably do another maybe 3 or 4 of these pieces, because we need to make sure she's got plenty of hair. There we go, so that's 2. This should be enough. And if you cut it off too long, then that's fine. It's if you have it too short, that's the okay. So I'm going to try and keep everything the same length. There we go. Keep everything the same length. So we've got. So we're going to have the sort of wig like that, and then the dolly will have her hair like that. So then, and then after that we can style her hair however you'd like to. So join me again shortly for hairstyling tips. Hello, here we are, wig making classes. I've brought this forward like that, so because it's easier for me to do the hair while she's upright. So I've just put her first piece of hair on. Now we're using the small shorter pieces, and I've just using Yoo-hoo glue, and I've just put a very small amount on the top there and glued this first piece onto her head. Now you can use hot glue if you like, but as I've said before with hot glue dries hard, so you know, I thought this glue might be better. So we're going to take another piece of this lovely hair, and then I'm going to glue some this side. So we're going to put a little bit of Yoo-hoo on there, and we put this on there like that. Okay, and you can see what I'm doing there. And then we're going to keep sticking little bits on around the side there, aren't I? Take that bit off there. There we go. So I don't know how long this is going to take to dry. It takes, I don't know, 10 minutes or so to actually go off. But you have to leave it fully 24 hours for it to dry. So we're just going to turn around and do the other side now. I'm just going to put a little drop of glue there. And try to keep all your ends a similar length. And this actually does look like hair. Look at that. You can do this with yarn as well. You could just use the same you do it the same way. So we don't need the glue, we need the hair. So I'm just going to keep putting that glue on where the hair is there. I mean, you can trim all this up. I mean, if you wanted to put a fringe, you could actually bring that down over there if you wanted a fringe. Or bangs, as it's called in the States and Canada. Why is it called bangs? Somebody tell me. There's a little gap there, so I'm just going to put a wee bit on there like that. I need to know why you guys across the pond call a fringe bangs. Just trim that off. I could Google it, but I'm busy. Right, so there we've got a back of her hair. I know it looks a bit scraggly at the moment, but we've got the back of her hair. I'm going to keep that just in case we need. So now we get the long bits, and we're going to put the long bits this way, so that we get the sides. So I'm just going to take some of this hair, just a little, make sure that it's sort of equal. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them stick these pieces like that. Okay, but first I'm going to trim these ends up. This is what we've already glued on, so we missed a little bit there, so we can put a little bit of glue in there and glue that down. Now, so we're gonna go some round here, the edge of what we've just put on, put some glue, and then we're just going to lay that on top of the glue there. So that it covers up what we've just stuck on, more or less. So now you can see that we're getting a head of hair, sort of. So I'm going to put some more glue on here like that, And then I'm going to put some more hair on. I'm going to do, oops, it's very messy, this hair. I'm glad the fan's not blowing this way today. So we fold it in half, and then we place that on her head like that. And then you can see we're filling in the gaps. Okay, so I think that is enough hair for our bride. I think she could do with a little bit more there because we've got a little bit of a bald patch. So we can just squiff that over like that. If you wanted to put some more, you can put more. You could put another layer on there. In fact, I think I might do that. There we go, just put some more glue there. Oops, oh dear. It's very messy, this glue. And put another one in half. Put it in there like that. So there we go. Let's move this off now. And you can see our little bride. Let's push this back up so I can put her on the table. Our little bride is getting her hair. Like I said, you can use yarn with this as well. We're getting there. So we've got to do some more sticking and gluing. But what I've got to do first of all is wait for this to dry. Wait for the yoo-hoo to dry before we can carry on. So once the yoo-hoo is dry, because that's just the basic hair on, I mean, you can see some of it's actually not stuck, but it is on there. So what I want to do is I just want to, let me take that off there. I want to leave that like that for the hair to dry off, the glue to dry off. It shouldn't take long in this hot weather, but you never know. And then you can join me for hairstyling tips after. Bye-bye, darling. Bye-bye. Okay, here's the next part. As you can see, we've got our bride and groom and they're coming together. I'm going to do the faces now. I'm not very good at faces, but we're gonna try to make their faces. I'll do these pretty dolls and then ruin them with their faces, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna do the faces and I'll show you what we're gonna do with them. Okay, so first of all we need some eyes, so I'm going to move Pretty Bride out of the way there. She can stand over there, and we're going to go with the groom here. Here we go. He's got his hair, his lovely hair there, and we're going to give him some eyes. Now these eyes that I've got are, let me put them in my hand so you can see them. They're tiny whiny little 10mm eyes. Now these are flat backed cabochons, as you can see. They're flat backed, and I think I got these from Temu. These are 10mm eyes, but they're supposed to be realistic eyes, but they're not really realistic eyes. But I think these ones suit him best because they're blue, and they're the only blue ones that went with this colour. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to place his eyes on here, on his little face there, just to see where we would, how far apart we'd have his eyes. You know, oops, I'm losing them now. How far down the face we'd have them. I mean, when I make my toys, I always like to have mine closer together, my eyes. I always like to have my eyes close together. So, I mean, we've got his fringe here, or his bangs. Bangs, I love that, here. So we could probably bring his eyes up a little bit. So, because I'm looking at this upside down, I don't actually know what I'm looking at, but I am actually looking in the camera so I can see it. I think that's quite nice there. I think that's quite a nice position there. Let's make sure I've got that hair out the way, because it's we don't want to be gluing black hair everywhere. Everywhere I keep finding black fluff. So there we go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my little Yoo-hoo glue here. We're going to use this glue. Okay, you can use hot glue. You can use fabric glue. But I'm going to just put a little dab of Yoo-hoo on the back there, not too much. Then I'm going to place it, one eye there. And then another little tiny dab of glue on the back there. And there. And now we've got, let me turn that around a little bit. Let's, there we go. So there we've got our little eyes. Now, to me, one eye looks higher up than the other. There we go. Let's just move that one up a little bit, and so that they're even. And then we'll give them a little push down. Poke his eyes out. There we go. So now he's got his eyes. Yay! You can see us now. Okay, so we'll put our groom to one side and we'll give the bride her eyes now. The bride's eyes are similar. They're the same sort of eyes. They're different colour. They're green. We've got pretty little green eyes for the bride. So we're going to put her eyes on there. I always like brown hair and green eyes. I think brown hair and green eyes looks absolutely lovely. So we're just going to place her eyes on here. There. I think that looks nice. There, little glue bits in her hair, but we can pick all them out later. The glue bits, I'll be doing it forever. So I'm going to glue the bride's eyes on. A little drop of glue there. There we go. Oops, a daisy. There we go. One there, and another one there. Yeah, we make sure we've got them equal. There we go. I'm looking to see. I'm just using my eye to see if they're actually in the middle. Using the top of her head here, wherever. There we go. Now we'll poke her eyes out too. There we go. So our bride has her eyes. One still looks higher up than the other one, but perhaps it's just my wonky eyes. There we go. Okay. So now that's our bride's eyes. So we can lay her down there. Go. Now they've both got their eyes. They can see us. Actually, they need to be turned that way round so you can see them. There we go. We've got our blue-eyed groom with black hair and our green-eyed bride with brown hair. Okay, that's the eyes. So I hope you can come back for the next part, which will be the nose and the mouth. And then we'll have our little faces. Okay, so now we've got the yarn for the mouth. So this is a dark red. It's I didn't say it was burgundy, but it's like a dark. I mean, it's not as red as my shirt, obviously. But it's, I thought it would be nice for a mouth, so let's find the end. And there we go. And now we can embroider the mouth. So this is what we're going to do. So we're going to take our needle and yarn, chop that off there. I'm going to start the side of the head here. I'm not going to knot the end yet. So I'm just going to poke the needle through the side of the head there and come up here in between the eyes. So round about there, I would say. There we go. Maybe. We'll see. If we don't like it, we can take it out. And then we'll just pull that up. Leave a little bit of length there. And then we're just going to embroider a V for his mouth. So I'm just going to come a few rows up. I'm going to come over to, I'm going to go stitch 1, stitch 2 there, and then I'm going to come up about 4 rows. So we'll go over 2 stitches, so we go over 1, 2, and then we go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I'm going to put the needle in there, and then we're going to poke it all the way across to the other side, where we also go 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we know that one there is where we're coming out. Okay, 2 across, 4 up. So then I'm going to just gently pull that up for his face. Then we go back in to there, and we poke it and take it back over the side where it came out of, where it went in rather. Okay, so don't pull it too tight, otherwise you'll pucker up the face. Now how does that look? Does our groom look happy to be getting married to his beautiful bride? Of course he does. There we go. We're just going to squig his eyes around a little bit. There we go. That's a nice little smiley face there for our groom. I think that's quite good for a first attempt. I usually have to do it about 20 times. So what we're going to do now is we're going just to... we're just going to cut this off here. And then we're going to work this back inside. Okay. But we'll do that shortly because I'm going to do our pretty bride's face now, while we've got the red yarn still on. So I'm going to start here at the side of her head like I did with the groom, and we'll bring that up there like that. Oops, that's that one a bit squiffy there, so we'll try that one again. There we go, then to the middle there. Then I'm going to take it about there, I think. Just where her eye is there, just slightly, and then we can take that over that side to where the other eye is. Ooh, there we go. You can see the stitches on the edge of the eye there, so we'll pull that through like that, and then we'll go back through. Oops, pull her hair out. Took me ages to do that. And then we go back and come out where we went in. Okay. And we've got our little smiley bride's face too. Quite impressed with that. So while we've got this on here, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to gently tie these two together so that they don't come out. Then I'm going to hide the yarn inside the work. So we're just going to pull that up. Cut that off there. Mind I don't cut all the hair off. So now I'm just going to do the same with this side, this piece here. I'm just going to thread that through. There we go. And do the same thing. Pull that through. And then that should hide the red yarn there. Okay, so there you see. We've got our little face. And we do the same with the groom's face. We'll take these little catchy bits here and poke them in like we've done with the bride. Okay, so I'll just do him and we'll be back to do the nose and the cheeks shortly. Okay, here we are again. You can just see that I've put the cheeks and the nose on the groom, and how I've done that is with a dark pink coloured pencil. Okay, that's all that is. This is just a normal colouring pencil. You can use watercolour pencils if you wish, which probably would work better because we do need to use water to blend it in. So what I've done is I've got a little drop of water in a thingy up here I found in the bathroom. I'm just soaking my pencil in. I'm soaking the nib of the pencil in the water. Okay, then I've got a piece of paper that I will scribble on like that, and then just to see how it's going. Okay, that's Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to dip my pencil in the paper, scribble a little bit on, dip my pencil in the water, scribble a little bit on the paper. Then what we're going to do is we're going to give her a nose right there. So all you need to do is just a tiny little dot for her nose. There we go, that's a tiny little dot there for her nose. I can't even see that, I've probably messed it right up. Okay, so that's her little nose. Now to do her cheeks, what we do, the same sort of thing, we soak our pencil in the water and give it a little bit of blob on the paper, and then right here by the side of the mouth I'm just going to just put a little bit there. Then with my finger I'm going to dip my finger in the water and just smudge it so that we've got a cheek. And then we do the same with the other side. There we go, just put that there like that. Finger in the water and smudge it. And we've got our cheeks. There we go. That's our faces for our little bride and groom dolls. There we go, that's our faces. We've got our faces all done. Now all that's left to do is embellish. We've got to give her a bouquet, we've got to do her hair, we've got to bling her up a bit, bling him up a bit. So join me for the next bit and we can carry on. Right, okay, this is our next part. I'm going to show you the hair for the groom, okay, as I wasn't actually sure how to do the hair because I was going to use yarn. I mean, you can use yarn if you want to, but I found that this was much better, much easier. Okay, this is what I've used for his hair. Now, a lot of people use this to make beards for their gnomes and gonks and what have you. So I got this on Temu, okay, and it's, I just sort of like put gonk beard in black, and it's about, I'd say, 1.5 inches wide there. And it's quite long. I've got quite a long bit, but we only sort of need to cut a small piece off of here. So what we do is we'll put it on his head, measure how wide you'd want it to go across, which is probably about this much here, where my finger is there. And then we'd cut that off. Move that to one side. Then what we do is we just pull off this because otherwise it's going to come everywhere. So what we're just going to pull it around just so that it makes like a wig shape, if you like. I mean, anything that comes off, take it off. Okay, look, as you can see there's hair everywhere. Okay. Then what you would do is, he's already got his hair on, so that would be his hair. So I would, yeah, there we go. I've got a bride that's, but it's a head. So this is the other bride that I was working on. So just pretend it's not a bride, it's a groom. So what we would do is we would just put the head, the hair on the head like this. Then we'd arrange it, arrange the hair. And you think, yeah, that looks okay. So then I take it off and I turn it over, and I would round off these two corners here at the front, just round them off. Oops. And pull off the bits that fall off. Then I'm just going to, so that we've got, then I'm just going to cut the fringe. Bangs. Love it. So we've got our fringe at the front, and then this is the long piece that we've got at the back. We've got the hair at the back. So then you get your head, and you just place it on top of the head, wherever you think is best. Okay, and when you've got the position right, you just glue it on. You just put some glue onto this, the back here, and glue it on. Glue it down. And then we have, I'm not going to glue this on because this isn't, then we've got our hair. And then you can adjust the hair however you wish to. You can cut it, you can just leave it as it is. So that's, you can actually put a little drop of glue on there to bring the bangs down, the fringe down, get bangs, yeah, fringe down. And that is how we did the hair for the groom. Okay, now what I will show you, if I take that little wig back off there, because we don't actually need that, I can keep that for another groom if I do another one. So I'm just going to move all this hair out the way before it gets everywhere. I'm just going to move it all out the way. I should have a little bin here really, shouldn't I, to put all the rubbishy bits in. There we go. Let's get rid of all the rubbishy bits. Okay, and then let's put the groom over here. Now, what I did with the bride's hair, now you saw earlier that I actually glued all her hair down straight. So I glued all her hair on so that it was all hanging down. So now to make this little bun here, what I did was I made sure that I'd glued it all the way around so that we had, when it's rolled up, it would stay on the back of her head and the side of her head. So all I did was, as it was long down, I just twisted it all the way around to the back into like a ponytail. Sorry, there we go. Into a ponytail at the back. Then I just folded the ponytail up. I actually used another piece of this hair to tie the ponytail. You can see that there. So then I just pulled the ponytail up. I twisted the bottom of the hair over. So this is the bottom of the hair, and secured it like that to make the bun. And that is how I did the hair. You can style the hair any way you like. I'm no hairstylist really, but that was what I had. This is the sort of thing I had in my head because I wanted her to have a bun, because we're going to decorate her hair with flowers and a veil, obviously. So, hairs everywhere. But this is what I had in my mind's eye, but I wasn't sure how to do it. But you can leave her hair down, you can put it up, you know, any way you want to have it. But this is how I saw my little bride having her hair. So that's how I did her hair. So next we're going to move on to decorating, embellishing.